Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian. I'm your host, Gillian Burton Persaud, and I'll be with you up until 8 hours this evening as we examine the trending political issues in our country today. Well, I must apologize for not being here last Sunday. I was a bit under the weather, I had some sore throat, so you would not have been able to hear me effectively and fluently. However, I'm here with you this Sunday, and we have issues that we will look at this evening. The first being, finally, the appointment of a GCOM chairman. And we also will look at political maturity and social harmony. So those are the two things that we will look at this evening. And as usual, before we get into the meat of the program, I'll bring you today's quote, and it says, "Every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath and start again." Every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath and start again. Well, we need to do that from time to time because every day something new comes about. And, if it's not going our way, then we just need to take a deep breath and get it going. Well, the long anticipated issue and, the back and forth that was going on, finally on Friday, there was the appointment of a new chairman of GCOM. And that person is none other than retired Judge Madam Claudette Singh. And, persons would have said to her that she's a very stern person. She's very professional, and she does not take bullying and pushing over. So, that's good because we need somebody like that who will be able to stand up to the test of time and who will be able to stand their own ground and give us a professional commandeering of the GCOM. And so we welcome the new GCOM chairman, Madam Claudette Singh, retired judge, and also senior counsel. And we look forward now to hearing the date for the election. So that's another thing on the table now, the date for elections, because we've been hearing a lot of utterances from the coalition leaders. Nobody can tell them when to hold elections, and CCJ can't tell them, and they never told them, and all these kinds of things. So, we have a GCOM chairman in place, and we're looking forward for the work to be up and going. And we spoke last week, you would have heard from the leader of the opposition on the illegal house-to-house registration. And I've noticed over the past week that a delegation from the United Nations did speak to the fact that it will not be the wise thing to have a new list, but to use the current list that is there so that the elections can go forth. And it seems that sometimes the government is not listening to anybody, they're listening to their own selves. We also had that bit of, unfortunate incident where the president met with the members of the diplomatic community, civil society, and the private sector. And, after giving his address to them, left without answering any questions that there might have been. And many persons expressed their dissatisfaction at that. And, that's a very poor handling for someone who carries the highest position in this country to be, not wanting to answer questions. You invite persons to a forum and it's like, listen to what I have to say. And when I'm finishing what I have to say, I'm not going to answer you on anything. You take it or you leave it. And we've been seeing a lot of that going on for some time now. People feel that they can talk down to everybody. Their word is the law. But the thing about it is that we have a problem, a situation where the custodians of the law refuse to adhere to the laws of this country, refuse to uphold the Constitution of this country. And we do hope that the new GCOM chairman, Madam Claudette Singh, will be able to guide the process in that way, having been someone who is known to uphold the rule of law and uphold the Constitution in the execution of her duties. And that brings me to the point of talking about political maturity. You know, I have been for some time now observing the words and the comments and the statements by persons who are known or claim to be political leaders in our country today. And it's sad what is coming out from those persons. I want to remind us all that we have a motto that says one people, one nation, one destiny. And that was not plucked out of the skies. As a matter of fact, it was a minister of the PPP government, Mr. Brindley Ben, father of Mr. Robeson Ben, who crafted that motto for us. And it's a unique motto because Guyana, as we know it, has 6 races. And we can even say we have a 7th because with a combination of different races, you know. But so many thousand years ago, our indigenous brothers and sisters, their ancestors came here, the Amerindians. They were the first persons on this land. Later, the Europeans came, employed the Amerindians, but because of the harsh labor, they fled those plantations. And then we have what is known as the slave trade that commenced not only in Guyana, but across the Caribbean and even in North America, where Africans were stolen from their homelands and brought here to work on the plantations as slaves. A very inhumane conditions. And after slavery would have emancipated, the emancipation of slavery, the abolition of slavery, we had what became the indentured system, where the ancestors from India came here and worked on the sugar plantations. And they were followed by the Portuguese, who also came and did their stint, followed by the Chinese, who came and did their stint. And there was at one point in time, you had Europeans who were poor that came here also to work. So Guyana has a very unique story of having persons journey from thousands of lands across the seas to come here and to make here their homes. And they were all living at one point in time in love and harmony. But sadly, our political system and the greed of political leaders and the feud that was fueled between our peoples have had us in this state up until today. Today, when we look at social media, we read what's going on in social media, and we read the comments coming from both sides of our political divide. Persons are so fueled up that we have a lot of ethnic and racial disharmony in our midst. And it's sad, because that tells us that we are not one people. We are a divided people, whether we want to accept it or not. And it only takes the notification of an upcoming general and regional elections. They call it the silly season, and we need to get rid of that term. When you see all the racial profiling, all the racial derogatory remarks are being made against each other. And we need to stop. And I want to send out a special plea to our historians. Let the story be told, and let it be told in truth. Unless we can sit as a people and look at our history and analyze it and objectively and precisely and honestly say what has went wrong in our past the healing will never take place. And the time has come for us as leaders, whether it's in politics, whether it's in our various religious organizations, whether it's in our various civil society organizations, in our communities, in our schools, to work together to get rid of this scourge that has become a life sore on our country today. It's so sad when you look at the comments that are being made against each other. There is hardly a comment on Facebook that has to do with politics that the race baiting and the race hating is not coming into being. And I would wonder what the ERC is really doing about it. There needs to be a program about that. We need to stop, because it is hurting our country. We are hurting each other. And we need to have mature political leaders. I have read some comments coming from political leaders or persons who are leaders in our society, and the nasty, derogatory, and irrelevant comments that are being made about one race or other races. These are the people who are supposed to be taking us down a road of development, opening our consciousness and our awareness of who we are as a people. And if we cannot come to that point where we can be one people who came from various ancestry backgrounds and ethnic backgrounds, and look at ourselves, not as Indo-Guyanese or Afro-Guyanese. And, I don't hear about Persaud and Amarindo and Caucasian Guyanese. We just hear about Indo and Afro-Guyanese. So those are the two major sectors that this issue of race is like a deep-seated abscess. We need to start looking at ourselves as Guyanese. Yes, we come from different ethnic backgrounds, but over the years, over the centuries, we have lived, we have worked, we have worshipped in this one space we call home, we call Guyana. And when they ask what your nationality is, we put Guyanese. We don't put Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese and Persaud-Guyanese and Chino. We don't put that. We put our nationality is Guyanese. So we are indeed, in fact, Guyanese. And wherever we go in the world, we are Guyanese. And so we need to start looking at ourselves as Guyanese. That is when we can acclaim the fact and the truth that we are one people. Elections will come, elections will go. Parties will form, some will remain and some will dissolve. But we need to start looking at a campaign that campaigns on issues and not race. I'm seeing some old political leaders coming out and they're talking about what happened back in then and what happened then. Yes, those are good points for us to bring, but bring it with the truth and the facts. Don't adulterate it, don't dilute it, or don't add spices to it. To use it as a weapon, as a tool, to instigate and incite conflict and strife in our country. And I want my viewers to think about it. When you are galvanized and you are being motivated to act in such a manner to hurt your brothers and your sisters of another race, another ethnicity, when you are encouraged to destroy your country, who have to live with the period of hardships that it will take to rebuild your country. Those political leaders who are telling you, or those leaders who are telling you to go out and do the wrong things, they will not be here to help the rebuilding. They will disappear. They will seek political asylum in another country. They will pack up themselves and their families and they will go far away from here. And you are the persons who have to be left here to suffer, to bear the hardships, so that a rebuilding and a replacement of the things that were destroyed take place. And so we need to think very hard and sternly when our leaders are giving us the wrong signals, the wrong advice. And I'm calling on political leaders in this country. I'm calling on all leaders in this country. We have an elections that is coming up. Let it be a peaceful elections. Let it be an elections that when political parties go to the poll, it must not be what we saw in previous elections and a lot that happened in 2015. Let your work speak for you. Let our campaign be on issues. Let it not be about race, about ethnicity. Because again, we are all Guyanese. We have a right to speak out when things are not going right for us. Because when you go to the polls, you elect leaders that will enhance your life, enhance the life of your loved ones, and take you to that next level of prosperity in life. And I'm totally disturbed of the comments that I'm reading of persons who claim to be leaders in our society, digging up old dirt, putting it out there, trying to mislead and misguide the young people of this country. The young people of this country, when you speak to them, they have no interest. They have no interest in a politically and a racially divided society. They want to live together. They want to be able to hang out together in peace. They want to be able to marry the person of their choice, regardless of the race or the ethnicity. They don't need that. And indeed, we don't need that in our country. So we have to bridge that gap that will take us, and indeed we will be one people. And it's only when we are one people we can be one nation, the Guyanese nation. And then together we can work and develop this country to lead it to the one destiny. A destiny that is chartered and crafted so that all of us can live in this space and prosper, live in peace. So that is what we need to do. That is what we need to happen in our country today. And so I'm asking the people to hold our leaders to the task. Whenever they give you the negative comments and the negative statements that will see us becoming divided and being at each other's throats, we need to call them out on it and let them know we don't need this. We don't want this. This is not what we want. We want to be able to live in peace. We need to be able to live lovingly, unitedly, in a harmonious way. If we can't do that, then we need to disband the Ministry of Social Cohesion. Because social cohesion, apart from bringing together all the different persons into one like-minded situation, it's also to look at the well-being of each and every sector. And we're not seeing that happening in our country today. We're hearing leaders talking about war. We're hearing leaders talking about who ancestors whip on the other ancestors' back with whips. We are hearing about who was here first and who was here last, and who have rights and who have ancestral claims to land and all these things. I am saying that we are Guyanese. I am saying that the inhumane conditions under which many of our ancestors worked was not good. And each of our ethnic race, each ethnicity had a taste of the cruelty of slavery. The Amerindians, the indigenous brothers and sisters, had their taste, and that is why they took their flight deeper into the forest. When the poorer class of Europeans came, it was so harsh, they started to die out under it. When the Africans came, it was harsh for them too. And they had a lot of hardships to endure until the abolition of slavery. And the indentures had it no better, because if it wasn't the whips on their backs, they had bad living conditions and poor wages, inhumane living conditions. And then we had the Portuguese who came, hardships, inhumane conditions, and they decided to go away, move away. We had the Chinese who came, and the same thing, and they moved away. So each and every race, ethnicity that came to this country, all 6, did not have it easy. It was about wealth against, or those who were wealthy against those who were poor. And so the wealthy took advantage of the poor, regardless of your race, your color, or your creed. Today we have it much better. We have the opportunity of developing our country, of working together to make Guyana a beautiful place, something, a wonder of this world. We're blessed with all the natural resources that is across the world. And still, as rich as we are with our natural resources, we are poor, dirt poor, when it comes to living together in one space, as a people, as one people, one nation. So we need to stop the fight and the fuss. We need to stop the hate, the racial profiling. We need to stop the race hate and the race baiting. And we need to call on our leaders to be responsible and mature and lead us with pride and dignity. Be examples morally and socially. If we cannot do that, we will never be a one nation, and we will never attain that one destiny. And so now I open up the phone lines on 233-2459 to hear your comments here on Talk Back with Gillian. And so we're opening the phone lines here on 233-2459, 233-2459 to take your calls. And the phone numbers are up on the screen there to take your calls on Talk Back with Gillian. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good night, Gillian.
Good night.
You're doing a good program. Excellent. But what I would like you to do is to get Bible and give it to the politicians. Let them study, practice the Bible. And let them get Bible from kindergarten right up to Parliament. And then we'll get change. Good night.
Okay, thank you. Well, we cannot only use the Bible because we have our various religious bodies in our country, and each person's freedom of worship. So not just the Bible, there are the other religious books. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good night, Julian.
Good night.
David Hines. This guy preaching share race on the TV and the radio. This man don't respect Indians at all. And Aubrey Norton from PNC. These two guys on the TV and the radio just preaching share race. And something wrong with the ERC. ERC is not doing the job. Because every check come of social education going on now, it's one set of people not doing it. And something definitely wrong with ERC. And David Hines needs to pull up himself because he's strictly race and he don't respect Indians at all. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming through.
Good.
Well, that is why we're calling on all our leaders, whether you're political or whatever, to take a responsible position. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good evening, Gillian. I admire you. You are a fair and an honest speaker. Just keep going like that. Our country is a rich country. Our country is a beautiful country. We don't have the kind of disaster that other countries have. And we need to work and live in love and harmony. Continue to show that love as you're showing to one another. Have a good night, my dear sister.
Thank you. Because Guyana, we're rich. We're so rich, and yet we're so poor. It's so sad. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good night, my dear.
Good night.
God bless you both. And your question and your answer is very neat and distinct. Because what you're saying is, we have one nation, one destiny, one thing. I appreciate the way you put over your story. Because China is one people, one nation, one thing. I born and going to Victoria. And you're mixed people. And that was what you said just now. If we can't unite, we can't live together. God bless you.
Thank
You
you.
need to see many more programs like this. I always watch the program. Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you for coming through. You see, we cannot have a motto, then we need to change the motto. If we have a motto that is saying one people, one nation, one destiny, and we're fighting each other down, and it's senseless because when you look at what we're fighting, for, sometimes you ask the question, what are we fighting for? People are taking, instigation from leaders, and that is why I am not blaming the people, I'm blaming the leaders of our country, regardless which part of the divide they come from or the organization. Leaders lead by example, and we have a great role to play in this beautiful country of ours. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Yeah, good evening, Julian.
Good evening.
It's a beautiful topic you brought up. What Guyana needs to do is put United Guyana. I haven't said just Guyana because in 2020, the Europeans will be back in Guyana with dealing with this oil. And if they find division, they're going to take all advantage of us. So as a country, we need to be united to get our money. Thank you.
Thank you for coming through. Indeed, we have to be united to look after our interests. If we're divided, then you know what happens. Our chain is as strong as its weakest link. One link goes missing and the chain cannot work. So we need to have that chain effect that we will look out for each others. And when we get into those upper echelons of our political realm, we need to look out for our brothers and our sisters. Because we go to the people and we ask them to vote for us and we ask them to trust us that we will do things for them. And then when we get there, we forget about them. It is so sad. People are hurt because they were deceived. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good night, Miss Gillian.
Good night.
Yeah, I'd like to call you there on the topic.
Thank you.
Yeah, Miss Gillian, we need to get together. We need to be as one. Like the Creator, we are one with the Creator, so we have to be as one together to lead.
okay, is not just the opposition alone. You understand? The people, you have to know the weak souls, wherever, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to know where the weakness coming from.
And you have to work strongly because it's
Strongly.
our country.
Yes, and this, how we gonna get the upliftment? Not this party like that, don't want them like that. They must show no example because the country gonna be like that.
And the people will become divided.
Yes, we're gonna get segregation, and this will bring in the problem right now.
I agree with you. We cannot be segregated. We cannot be divided. As I'm saying, political parties will come. Some will stay for centuries or decades. Some will start up and they will dwindle away. They will, go away. But at the end of the day, our political campaign must be on policies that will build our country, that will enhance the lives of our people. We're having a scenario unfolding before us that is a not nice situation. It's not nice. It has nothing to do with our nation building. Look how long it took us to come to position. And I think maybe whips had to go on somebody or body's back before we had a GCOM chairman that was consensually elected. Come on. What example are we showing to our young aspiring politicians? Because we will not remain politicians forever. We're going to move away from the scene and others will have to take over. And we need to leave a legacy that is rich and that is good, morally sound. This is an ongoing process. It's not a one-off. So we as leaders need to be careful with the way in which we conduct the business of this country. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good evening, Julian. I admire your program, and what you're saying is truth. We are Guyanese, and, I'm a Muslim, right? And my religion taught me, and my God says, according to it, oh, you Arabs, you are not superior to non-Arabs, and oh, you non-Arabs, you are not superior to non-Arabs. Same goes as we Guyanese. We are equal in the of God, and we should always remember we are Guyanese. We should have love one another, respect one another as Guyanese. I work and see. I'm an old person, I'm 63 years now. I work and see and I travel around the world. Many countries, over 80 countries, I travel around the world. And I see a lot of places, the people, and I talk great about my country, Guyana, because I love my country. And people ask me where I'm from. I say I'm from Guyana. They say, where? From Africa? I said, no, a small country in South America, just between Suriname and Venezuela and Brazil, a very small country, And I talk very great about my country because I love my country. I was living in Venezuela at one time in 97. The ambassador for Guyana, that I think was Benny Caron, he went down to the area where we was living, up in San Jose de Cacawal. There are a lot of Guyanese. And everybody shake his hand and so on. And then I go and shake his hand and he watched me and say, are you a Spanish? You are a Venezuelan? I said, no, I'm a Guyanese. I'm 100% Guyanese and I'm proud of my Guyanese. But we Guyanese should have, this is from this racism, this is from that. That's not good, And my God vexes those people, who spread racism, I don't support those kind of things, Julian. Okay, Julian, that's my contribution.
Thank you for coming through and thanks for your comments. We are living in this one space and we're not so many people. I don't think we've reached to the level of having 1 million persons. And we have all this bottled up hate, that is coming out and we feed it to the young ones. And it continues. There were political leaders in the past who would have made their mistakes, knowingly, unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly. Today, we have political leaders. We need to look back, yes, at the past, but to look at it in an objective manner. so that when we're crafting the future, we will and must ensure we do not repeat those mistakes. And we need to have an agenda as leaders, as political leaders, that will help our aspiring and young politicians coming up to be able also to look at the mistakes we would have made during our tenure and vow not to repeat it again. Learn from those mistakes. And that is what, I do hope my political colleagues and my various leaders in their various offices can look back at that time and vow not to repeat it again. I don't want you to keep repeating in my ears the dark ages and the poetry of these are the dark times, my love. Yes, that was in that dark age. But we don't need to go back to the dark age. We need to get out of that darkness and enter into the light. The light of progress and development and peace and harmony. Not to drift back into the darkness. But there are those who would have enjoyed the spoils of the dark era. Who would have reveled. Who would have been able to make their upward mobility because of the dark ages. They would have trampled on people. They would have trampled on situations. They would have used the people to get where they wanted to go. And so they think that they can use that now to keep themselves in an area or an environment of relevance. But what needs to happen? You would have had your time. You would have done what you had to do, what you did then. Good, bad, or indifferent. You need now to have persons to do what they have to do for the betterment. And you need to be so mature and responsible to seek to have them not go back to the dark ages or take this country back to the dark ages. You need to be, by virtue of wisdom and experience, maturity and responsibility, to guide the process into a more enlightened and progressive one. That is what I'm hoping to see in this day and age. But I'm sad, as I said, when I read comments in the media and on the social media, some persons, they come up out of the grave like Frankenstein, Freddy Krueger, or Chucky, and so they want to have you an Nightmare on Elm Street. We don't want that in this period, in this 21st century. We want maturity and we want progress, and it must be peaceful. People say, oh, you have to be revolutionary because you're a political leader. But revolutionary don't mean to say that you have to put people in a position where they destroy their country. We don't need to destroy Guyana. What we need to have happen is that when you go there and you ask people to vote for you and you give them an agenda by which you're going to work, which we call a manifesto, then you need to bring that manifesto into manifestation. And don't get there and think about yourselves and your friends and your cabal and everybody having a good time. And the people who went out there 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, they wake up 4 o'clock getting ready to go there and cast the vote for you. You forget about them. If politicians do the work that they are supposed to do, then their track record would speak for them. And you don't need to get nasty and gutter-like. You don't need that. You don't need to call people to arms and to war. Your track record will speak for you. Guyana have some of the most brilliant minds in this world. Our young people are brilliant. They're not stupid. But they look for guidance from the adults. And sad to say, we have too many adults misleading our young people today. And then when they go on the wrong track, then we criticize them. But there is not the desiderado, another item like the desiderata that said, children live what they learn, and children learn what they live. Teach them to love with their hearts, and they will find love in the world. And that is what we need to be doing in Guyana, a beautiful country like Guyana. We're talking about oil and gas coming, but are we teaching our young people how responsible they should be with looking at issues and debating issues, to disagree to agree so that they can take Guyana forward? We're not doing that. We're fighting each other down. Who want to get their hands on oil and who will get the oil money and what they will do with the oil. And we're not involving these young people that we're building these policies around. Because I'm saying it, many of us will be gone long, and we're going to leave our young people with a legacy that they cannot unravel. So we need to get real. I'll continue taking calls here on Talk Back with Gillian. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Hi, good night, Ms. Gillian, and congratulations on your program. I would like to tell you that the issue of what racism is all around us. And that's what you're doing when the people coming back into government. I hope they give you that position of cohesion to deal with that issue, because you're very plain speaking. And thank you and congratulations very much.
Thank you for coming through. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Hi, Ms. Gillian. Good evening. Everything that you're saying is so true. You are not shunning away from anything. I'd like just to share a little bit of a quote with you, if that is.
Go ahead, yeah.
It says, "We are all humans until race disconnected us, religion separates us, politics divides us, and wealth classifies us."
Mm-hmm.
All right? So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming through and thank you for that quote.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yes. And the thing about it, we talk about race and race. There's one race, the human race. We have various ethnicities, but we have one race, the human race. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Good evening, and how are you doing?
I'm good.
I just want to let you know that, it's about the country is facing a political crisis right now, and we're seeing so many people on the television from the PPP side. And I would love to see when the PPP gets into power, that we see people listen to the cries. We see these same people on the television and listen to the cries and the complaints of the people and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is one of the problems we had with the PPP, when they never uses to listen to the people and the cries and the complaints of the people. And I think that is one of the problems that would have caused the PPP to come out of power. So if I sure that the PPP would get back into power, and they should keep continuous program and listen to the cries and the complaints of the people and fix their problems. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming through. Thanks for your comment. Because basically the call is right. That is what people need to do. When you're a politician, you're there to help people. Sometimes people come to you at the verge of wanting to commit suicide, because they're looking to you. You're a leader. And you promise these people to look at them, and then you leave them there on the fringes. It's so bad. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian. Hello?
Hello?
Good evening. Welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Yeah, Gillian, good night. I like how you speak.
Thank you.
Gillian?
Yes, good evening. I'm listening to you.
Yes, baby. I want to know when there's going to be the election, girl.
Well, we're waiting. We have a GCOM chairman, and so we have to look now for the next step. And let's hope it's the call for election.
When are we going to get this election?
Well, yes. Well, we're hoping, according to the leader of the opposition, it should not be later than September 18th. So let's see what the GCOM chairman, she just got the portfolio on Friday. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, but you got some music on the market, does it store it sell up on the market, Gillian?
Yeah, we know that. We know everybody's disturbed. I'm disturbed too. Because I want us to go to the polls.
During the week and everything, then people step on this thing, you know.
Yeah, but as I said, she just came into office. So, you know, you got to get a little bit of breathing space because she has to get there, she has to meet the staff, and then she has to start her work. Okay?
All right.
Good.
But I like how you speak it, baby.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through.
Your word is so sweet and violent and speaking.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. I'll call you back next day.
Okay, have a great day. Yes, you know, we got to give the Madam Retired Justice Claudette Singh, we got to give her some time. You can't expect her tomorrow to start, you know, doing things. I know what it is to come into a new office. You know, you got to get at least a couple days, in her case, to breathe and get things in order. You got to have meetings with your staff and your management, you know, and start talking to the various key players within this whole scenario and to get things ongoing. But just let's hope that we have, now that the GCOM chairman is there, that we can have that early date for our elections. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian. Good evening.
Hello, good night, Julian.
Good night.
This is a call from Turkey.
Okay.
If you would understand what I'm saying, I was on the railway embankment for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And then this government come and remove me from here.
Okay.
Here I used to make my living.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give it to me, because I say, give land, got to make road and whatsoever. No compensation to destroy all my convenience, all my things up. And nobody come to me. Only Starbucks News come to me and take an environment for me a certain amount of time and say when they get back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me what's something. And until now, nobody income.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? And I was here for over 30-something years, planting this railway embankment, right in front of the conference center.
Well, you...
And I mean, all the ministers them from the previous government, this government, everybody come to the conference center, come to the CARICOM, everybody know the day I used to make my living. Many a time I drive a car and forget through you, but it's only down. Tonight I car about 20 times and now I get
Well, that's to tell you how the lines are busy. But if you said you used to plant on the embankment,
yeah.
you would need...
lettuce, celery,
You have to get in touch with... you are not... you got to get into your council area, your NDC.
No, well, this is not concerning NDC. This concerning Greater Georgetown, Mayor and City Council. Right? This concerning Mayor and City Council. Because NDC belongs from industry.
Well, then you need, you spoke with them at Mayor and City Council, what is it?
So when the individual them come, whoever come construct the work, right? They start a grade, they say you mustn't plant and you cannot do anything anymore, right? That,
all right, what you need to do, you need to go into the office of the Leader of the Opposition on Church Street, and you will speak to someone
there.
If I
tell you something, Miss Julian, even tell the opposition them, right, knows exactly who used to go on here.
All right, well, you need to go into the office there and you will speak with one of the MPs.
Okay.
All right? All right, good. Thank you for coming through.
Very much,
Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian. Good evening.
I would like to see in the PVP manifesto that is coming up. We have had a Ministry of Amerindian Affairs for many, many years. It's not only Amerindians living and Amerindians alone in Guyana. What would other people? We need a people's ministry, a people's affairs ministry. The Ministry of Social Cohesion is a hoax. We need a people, and therefore we can't get We motto as one people and one destiny and so forth. And we got a special ministry for a special set of people. We need a ministry that all the people of Guyana could go in and get the problems solved. Thank you.
Thanks for coming through. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Hi, good night, Julian.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm great.
Okay. I was looking at David Hines on Channel 9 a few minutes back.
Yeah.
And this guy exactly speaking about race. But I want him to know that the WPA and the AFC, they are already there already. So they don't have any show or any play. So what he's fighting up with is just waste of time. Thank you.
Thanks for coming through. Well, you know, some people feel that is the way to go. You know, when you don't have anything to offer and everything is going out of control, you feel the best way to do it is by, as I said, it is race card playing. And Guyanese, we the electorate, we are the ones who need to call out leaders who are going down this road and let them know we're not happy about this. This is not where we want to go. And I'm talking nationally as it relates to whatever ethnic group the race baiting is being leveled at, need to speak out about it. Need to send letters to the ERC and let them know that we're dissatisfied with the utterances that is coming from our leaders. We need to be very strong on that position because it's no use. We're going to have an ERC, Ethnic Relations Commission, that is there to look at these kinds of issues. And we're not sending our complaints to them. We got to let them know. We as people, we're not happy with it. A lot of the young people who don't like it, let the ERC know. Send them the letters. You know, write in the media. We don't want this kind of life, you know, fighting at each other and pulling down and cussing out each other. Sometimes when you look on Facebook, somebody put something about an issue and nobody debates on that issue. It's the back and forth and the cuss out and the nasty name callings. Whoa. You know, it's bad. And it's being fueled by irresponsible leaders in our society. We'll take a few more calls because we're coming up to program time here. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Gillian.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. I heard you talking about this racial ethnic groups and whatever. But my advice to get away from this thing and where we can get a united Guyana with Afro and Indian and whatever the rest of races. The only way we can get this is getting 12 persons from each region. All the region is mixed. And to run Guyana, and we will never get this political problem anymore.
Okay. Thank you for coming through. Thanks for your comment. Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian. Hello? Good evening and welcome to Talk Back with Gillian.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
There's a race problem in this country. I think the Constitution needs to rewrite. I think the Constitution wants to be a little bit more strong. That whenever who is in power did wrong after leaving office and they have proven to do wrong things, exploit Guyanese people, they should face Article 8. I think the Constitution, I just want you to examine it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Examine it and say, you know what? It is so right that the Constitution needs to I think the Constitution right in 1980. It's too long.
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah, it's too long. I think it needs to revamp. This is modern time. As you're talking about modern time, we need modern thing into the Constitution. It's an old Constitution.
You agree with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old constitution.
Well, that is why we talk about constitution reform. That is it, to re-examine it and bring it into perspective.
I support that 100%. The constitution need to rewrite. If we had some stern laws in place where people would be afraid of it, then the line that we draw, they might put a toe to the line. They wouldn't go for it. So I think the constitution need to rewrite, and I just want you to look into it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for coming through. All right. Well, we're up to program time here. I cannot take any more calls. I'm so sorry. But we will continue the conversation next Sunday because, you know, we got to get this thing going. We got to get rid of this hate and this strife and this conflict and look at issues that would put Guyana on a good footing. You know, so next week we'll continue the conversation. I'll open up the phone lines a bit more early so that persons can call in. It was great being with you, and as usual, I close with an extract. And this excerpt this week is from Dr. Chedi Jagan, and he says, "The tragedy of life is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude." So we need to change our attitude. You know, we need to be, and that is what we're talking about. Be responsible, be mature, be truthful. You know, lead by example. Moral values are important. And I plead again to my viewers out there, and as we said, spread the word. Let this election campaign be about issues. Call out those persons who are inciting racial and ethnic division and disharmony. We do not need it in Guyana. If we continue this way, then we might as well change our motto. And we have a motto that can guide us in that direction, to be a better people, a more loving and caring persons for each other. One people, one nation, one destiny. With these words I say, thank you for having me in your homes. Thanks for those who were able to call in. And until next week, I say to you, have a blessed evening and a very safe and productive week ahead of you. Thanks for being with me. I was your host, Gillian Burton Persaud, on Talk Back with Gillian.